Hello everyone! Welcome to a new episode of Bo's Slow English. In today's episode, I'll be speaking at this pace. This is my normal speaking speed. So hopefully it's not too fast for you, but I figured I could give you a little bit of a challenge. If you are new to my channel, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Bo. Hi! I normally speak in slow English so that you can understand. But lately, I've been getting a lot of requests to speak at a normal speed. So here I am. Before we get started, please click the like button to show your support. It keeps me motivated to post videos almost every day. And also please click subscribe so that we can be friends. In today's topic, we will be talking about trains and everything there is to know about trains, but more specifically, my experience. And I'll also put in some common vocabulary words so that you can understand and that you can feel very well prepared the next time you go to the train station and you hop on a train. This topic was requested by one of my awesome subscribers. So if you have any suggestions for future videos, please comment below. Trains. I love riding trains because I hate flying on airplanes, or I hate riding on airplanes. I most recently rode on a train when I went from one city on the East Coast where my parents live in Baltimore, Maryland, up to New York, in Manhattan specifically. The two train stations are called Penn Station, which is a little bit confusing. I'm not sure why both of them are called Penn Station. Wait, let me confirm that actually. I'm going to ask my phone. Is the main train station in Manhattan called Penn Station? And I was right. Both stations in Baltimore and New York are called Penn Station. The ride from Baltimore to Manhattan is about 2.5 hours long, and this is taking the fast train. The price per ticket is around maybe like $95, which isn't too bad because if you are to fly from Baltimore to New York, it would probably cost around $200 or $300 for a one-way ticket. Plus, you have to deal with the chaotic energy at the airport. And you have to arrive at the airport much sooner than when the plane actually takes off. So the great thing about riding a train is you can arrive about the time that you are set to take off. Do you know the phrasal verb to take off? It means that you are leaving. And usually you would use this phrasal verb for transportation. If you are not familiar with phrasal verbs, I highly recommend that you click on the link below. There's a free phrasal book that I made just for you. Feel free to download it. And if you would like the extended version with a private YouTube video where I say all 90 phrasal verbs, the link is below as well. The train company that I usually use is called Amtrak. Have you ever heard of Amtrak? They are located all around the United States. I've never taken it in California, but I know that there is one that leads from, or that starts from downtown LA and it goes all the way down to San Diego. And I would like to do that. I think it's called the Surfliner. And the reason why it's called Surfliner is because it's hugging around the coast near the water. So the view is really pretty. But if you compare to the duration of how long it would take for me to drive down to San Diego from where I live, it's an additional 1 hour train ride versus if I drive there, it would be only 2 hours. So if I take a train from LA to San Diego, it would be about 3 hours. And if I drive, it's about 2 hours. Before I get to the train station, I will book my ticket in advance. There is an app that I use. It's the Amtrak app, and it also allows me to choose the class that I want to sit in. Because my train ride isn't too far, I will probably just pick coach, which is like choosing economy for an airplane. If it was a longer trip, or if my parents were riding the train, I would probably book the business class, which is usually a little bit more expensive. Usually the business class area is a little bit more quiet. It's also more spacious in your seat. So spacious means more space. There are probably some other perks that I can't think of. I will have the electronic ticket on my phone, on the Apple Wallet, or on the Amtrak app. And when I have already gotten settled in to the train, which means I'm comfortable, I have my bags stowed away, the conductor will come by and he will scan your ticket. So you need to have a ticket. You could purchase a one-way ticket or a round-trip ticket, just like with an airplane. Because I usually will just fly out of the airport from the city that I will take a train into, I will just need a one-way ticket. That sounded a little bit difficult. I'll say that again. I will say it slowly, and I'll try to remember what I just said. Because I normally fly out of the city that I take the train into, I only need a one-way ticket. I've never purchased a round-trip train ticket then either, because I will again fly out of the final destination city. It's really important that when you show up to the train station, you should show up at least 20 minutes earlier, because you want to check to see where your train platform is. Platform is the area that the train will pick you up from. Sometimes it will change. Sometimes when you get there, it'll say it's at platform number 1, but then 10 minutes later, there might be a delay or something might change, and then the platform number will change. There's usually plenty of timetables, or it looks like TV screens, where you can see the destination as well as the time, as well as which direction the train is heading. So don't forget to take a look above, because all that information is usually right there. Usually when I am taking the train to or from New York or Baltimore, I have a large luggage, and there are people there. I think they're called like the red cap people. I don't remember exactly what they're called, but there are these men who wear a uniform, and I think they have a red hat or red cap. You can pay them or tip them some cash if they help you with your luggage, and they'll take it down the stairs to your platform. Sometimes on the train, there are snack carts, or there's somewhere on the train where you can purchase beverages and snacks. I don't usually purchase any snacks. It's not healthy. So I will bring my own snacks, or I'll bring my own water. I like the window side. That way I can look outside. It helps the time to pass, which means it keeps the brain occupied so you don't think about how long the train ride is. I also like to film outside the window. The alternative to sitting on the window side is the aisle side. Some people prefer to sit on the aisle side so that they can access their bags that they stowed above, or if they need to use the restroom often, they might want to do that. That way they're not bothering the person sitting next to them. There is sometimes a fee for bringing on a heavier suitcase. I don't know if on trains they call it checking a bag like you do when you take a plane ride somewhere. But I will normally bring a large checked bag as well as a carry-on bag. A carry-on bag is usually the size of this, and you can usually put it under your feet in front of you, in between the legs of the chair in front of you, or if there's no space down there, then you can place it above. If you don't purchase the ticket on your phone, you can go up to the ticket counter and ask, where can I buy a ticket? Or do you have any tickets available? I'm taking a train to New York, or I need to get to New York. So you can always ask the people at the ticket counter. It's important to ask how much the ticket costs and if it's a one-way ticket or round trip ticket. A super important question that you could ask the people at the ticket counter is the train on time? On time means, is it going to come the time that the ticket says it'll come? Otherwise, it'll be delayed. I don't think a train will ever come early. I think they'll maybe be a little bit delayed. There's more of a chance that you'll have a delayed plane ride versus a delayed train. On the train, there are usually assigned seats. Make sure you look above the seats, and you'll probably see the seat numbers there. And you want to make sure that you're sitting in your own seat. Otherwise, if you sit down and you get comfortable and cozy, someone might come up to you and say, "Excuse me, I think this is my seat." Then you have to get up, you have to get all of your belongings, and then you have to go find your actual seat. If you plan on working on your laptop on the train, you can ask one of the conductors or the ticket inspector, "Do you have Wi-Fi on this train? Do you have Wi-Fi on this train?" And while they're there, you might ask, "Where's the nearest restroom? Where is the nearest restroom?" Because my train rides in America are usually short, there's no connection required. What I mean by this is if I'm going from Baltimore to New York, I do not need to stop in Pennsylvania or New Jersey or Delaware. I can go directly from Baltimore to New York. However, in Europe, when I've traveled by the Eurail over there, I have taken connections before if I needed to go to a city, or if my final destination was in a city that maybe had less trains coming in and out of it. So I would need to stop at another main city before I headed down to the final destination. I've never been on a train that had sleeper cars, which means that you're able to relax, lay down, and sleep because it's an overnight train. I don't think I've done that. Maybe I did it in France when I was 17 years old and I was backpacking. I was very adventurous when I was young. My dream is to ride the Orient Express in Europe. And I've met some people who have ridden that train, and they said that it completely exceeded their expectations, which means that they had expectations or they had hopes of the experience, and what they actually experienced was even better than their hopes and their expectations. So I hope one day I can ride that train. I hope you learned something in today's lesson. If you want to sound like a native English speaker, you need to learn some slangs. I created yesterday an ebook. It's currently $2.99 this weekend, and the original price is $4.99. There's 60 slangs in there, and if you study it really well, you will definitely sound like a native English speaker. So check it out. The link is below. And if you would like to be a member in my YouTube membership community, there's a join button right here or right here. If you become a member, you have early access to all of my videos, and I also post some private posts under the community tab. So if you're interested, become a member and we can be really good friends. Share this video with someone who you think would really benefit from this, and I appreciate your time. Thank you as always. See you next time. Bye.